Confidence is not born in the spotlight. It is forged in the shadows. It is not the applause of people that builds it, but the quiet battles that nobody else sees. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to stand tall in the middle of it. You don't discover confidence in a moment of celebration. You discover it when you're trembling, uncertain, and yet you decide to move forward anyway. Confidence is built the same way a muscle is built, through resistance. Every time life pushes you down, every time doubt whispers in your ear, every time failure knocks on your door, you have an opportunity to rise stronger. You cannot pray for confidence and expect it to simply fall into your lap. Confidence is something you practice, something you stretch, something you grow into. And just like a seed pushing through the dirt, your confidence develops in the hidden places before it ever breaks through for others to see. You build confidence by embracing discomfort, by doing what scares you, by stepping into rooms where your knees are shaking and your voice is trembling, but you speak anyway. Because confidence is not about perfection, it is about courage. It is about the willingness to show up, flaws and all, and still say, I belong here. You build confidence by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you tell yourself you'll do something, and you actually do it, you send a signal to your own soul that you can be trusted. That trust is the foundation of confidence. When you keep showing up for yourself, you don't need the approval of others to validate your worth. You begin to walk with a certain posture, not because life has been easy, but because you've proven to yourself that no matter how hard it gets, you can endure. Confidence grows when you stop comparing your journey to anyone else's. Stop measuring your progress against someone else's highlight reel. Your confidence is not tied to their success. Your confidence is tied to your own ability to grow, to improve, to become better than the person you were yesterday. That is your measuring stick. That is your race. And let me tell you this, confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance is loud, insecure, desperate to be noticed. Confidence is quiet, steady, deeply rooted. Arrogance seeks attention, but confidence carries presence. Arrogance demands the room, but confidence commands it without ever asking. You don't build confidence overnight. You build it every morning you rise, every challenge you face, every mistake you learn from, every mountain you climb. And one day you'll look back and realize the very things you thought would break you were the same things that built you. So stand up, straighten your shoulders, lift your head. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you who you are. Stop waiting for permission to step into your destiny. The moment you believe you are capable is the moment your life begins to change. Because true confidence is not what you carry on the outside. It is what you know to be true on the inside. It is the fire that says, even if I stumble, even if I fall, I will rise again. That is how confidence is built. Confidence does not come wrapped in a gift box waiting at your doorstep. It is something that must be carved out of struggle, pain, and persistence. When people see someone who walks with confidence, what they often miss is the journey that person took to get there. Confidence is not born in luxury. It is not the product of ease or comfort. It is created in the furnace of resistance. Just like fire refines gold, trials refine confidence. You don't know how much strength you carry until life puts you in situations where you are forced to stand up when everything inside of you wants to collapse. Confidence is built when you face moments of fear and uncertainty and still decide to take the next step. It is born when you silence the voice of doubt and act even though your heart is pounding. That is where confidence begins, not in the absence of fear, but in the decision to move forward in spite of it. If you think confidence is about having everything together, you have misunderstood its foundation. Confidence is not about perfection. It is about persistence. It is about learning to show up even when your voice shakes, even when your hands tremble, even when you are unsure of the outcome. You train confidence by repetition, by facing the same challenge again and again until what once terrified you becomes familiar. Just like a weightlifter who starts with small weights and builds the muscle over time, Confidence grows stronger with practice. The first time you do something new, it may feel like you are stumbling through darkness, but the more you do it, the more light you create for yourself. And suddenly, the same task that once made you nervous becomes the very thing that fuels your assurance. Confidence is also built in silence, in those hidden places where no one is watching. It is built every time you keep a promise to yourself. When you say you will get up early and you actually do it. When you tell yourself you will complete a task and you finish it. When you commit to a goal and you refuse to quit. You are stacking bricks of confidence within your spirit. These small acts of self-trust are what allow you to stand tall in bigger moments, because how can you expect to believe in yourself in public if you keep breaking promises to yourself in private? Confidence is the fruit of discipline, of integrity, of consistency. The more you honor your word to yourself, the more you begin to trust that you are capable of handling anything that comes your way. You cannot expect confidence to show up without resistance. Resistance is the training ground. Every obstacle is a weight added to the bar of your growth. Every failure is a lesson that shapes your resilience. Every setback is a teacher, pushing you to refine your skills and strengthen your resolve. Confidence is not built by running away from struggle. It is built by facing it head on. Every time you conquer something that once intimidated you, you elevate to a new level of assurance. That is how confidence is built, not in theory, not in fantasy, but in the daily grind of facing what scares you and refusing to retreat. Confidence is not something that others hand to you. It is something you learn to cultivate from within. Too many people are waiting for applause, validation, or approval before they step into who they really are. But real confidence does not come from the outside in. It comes from the inside out. It is born from the deep conviction that you are worthy, capable, and prepared to face whatever comes your way. If you keep waiting for someone else to crown you, you will spend your life standing on the sidelines. But if you learn to recognize your own value, you will discover a strength that cannot be shaken by the opinions of others. Confidence is about knowing that even if the crowd walks away, even if nobody claps, even if no one believes in you, you are still enough. It is the quiet belief that your worth is not dependent on who sees you, but on who you have decided to become. Comparison is one of the greatest thieves of confidence. You cannot compare your beginning to someone else's middle or your journey to someone else's destination. Confidence grows when you stop measuring your life against the highlight reels of others and start focusing on your own growth. Every person's path is different. Every story unfolds in its own time. And the moment you stop wasting energy trying to live up to someone else's pace is the moment you reclaim the energy you need to build your own. Confidence says, I may not be where they are, but I am where I need to be. It says, I may not have everything figured out, but I am further than I was yesterday. This perspective allows you to appreciate your progress without undermining your potential. When you truly embrace that truth, you stop shrinking in the presence of others and start shining in your own light. True confidence is not loud. It does not need to boast or broadcast itself to be real. It does not have to walk into a room and demand recognition. Real confidence is steady. It carries a quiet strength. It commands respect without ever asking for it. Arrogance will always scream, but confidence will always whisper with authority. People may not remember every word you say, but they will always remember the energy you carry. Confidence is an energy. It is a posture. It is the way you stand, the way you look people in the eye, the way you carry yourself even in difficult situations. It is the unspoken language of assurance that tells the world, I know who I am and I know what I bring. You don't have to prove anything to anyone when you are truly confident, because your presence becomes the proof. Confidence also grows out of failure. Every mistake, every stumble, every wrong turn has the potential to either weaken you or strengthen you. The difference lies in how you respond. If you allow failure to define you, it will strip you of courage, but if you allow failure to refine you, it will sharpen your confidence. Every time you rise after falling, every time you learn from what went wrong and try again, your confidence deepens. You no longer fear failure because you understand it is not final, it is a stepping stone. And once you stop fearing failure, you unlock a fearless kind of confidence that allows you to take risks, to dream bigger, and to move boldly in the direction of your calling. Confidence begins to take root when you stop waiting for the perfect conditions to move forward. Too often people hold back, believing they need more resources, more knowledge, or more approval before they step into what they are capable of. But confidence is not about waiting until everything is right. It is about acting with what you have where you are and trusting that you will grow. Along the way, confidence is a decision to step out onto the water before you know if it will hold you. It is not the elimination of uncertainty. It is the determination to keep moving even when uncertainty surrounds you. Those who build real confidence are not the ones who always had the answers. They are the ones who learn to move while still searching for them. Confidence grows when you understand that identity and purpose are not fragile. When you know who you are, the criticism of others cannot crush you, and the praise of others cannot inflate you. Confidence is rooted in identity. If your confidence is tied to the shifting opinions of people, it will rise and fall like waves tossed by the wind. But when your confidence is grounded in a deeper sense of self, it becomes immovable. You no longer walk into a room asking silently for permission to belong. You walk in with the assurance that you already belong, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. That kind of confidence is not borrowed, it is owned. It is the difference between standing on shaky ground and standing on a solid foundation. Another way confidence is cultivated is by exposure. You cannot expect to develop confidence staying locked away from challenges. The more you expose yourself to opportunities that stretch you, the more your courage expands. If you are afraid to speak, confidence grows by speaking anyway. If you are afraid to lead, confidence grows by stepping into leadership anyway. If you are afraid of failure, confidence grows by trying again after failure. Exposure is uncomfortable, but exposure is necessary. Confidence is like a flame, and the winds of challenge either blow it out or make it burn stronger, depending on how you handle them. Every new experience becomes fuel for your growth. Every stretch becomes a story you carry. Every victory over fear becomes another stone laid in the foundation of confidence. Confidence is also tied to the way you talk to yourself. The inner conversation you carry every day shapes the level of assurance you walk with. If you constantly rehearse words of defeat, words of insecurity, words of insufficiency, your spirit begins to believe them. But when you begin to speak to yourself with strength, with affirmation, with truth, you rewire your own belief system. Confidence is not just what others see, it is what you tell yourself in the quiet of your own mind. When you learn to silence the voice of negativity and amplify the voice of courage, your actions begin to follow your words. Your thoughts create your reality, and confidence is first built in thought before it is ever displayed in action. Confidence also matures when you learn to celebrate progress instead of perfection. If you keep waiting until you are flawless, you will never feel confident enough to start. Confidence does not come from having no flaws, it comes from embracing them and still showing up. When you stop hiding what makes you human and start using it as fuel for your growth, you step into a more authentic kind of confidence. It is not the polished image of someone who looks untouchable. It is the realness of someone who is willing to show their scars and still stand strong. That authenticity connects, that authenticity inspires, and that authenticity becomes the greatest form of confidence you can ever carry.